Hello, Tarot viewers. Welcome to Good Morning Tarot. Okay, welcome to the beginning of another new day. Okay, a new beginning. Now, this is a general reading, so it is open to all signs. At the same time, this is a timeless reading, so anytime you find yourself watching this video, that is the right time for you. Now, let's see what is the main energy for today. Wow, the main energy for today is the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups can symbolize going back to memory lane. Okay. Uh, Strawberry fields forever. Okay, something like that. I'm a little out of tune. It reminds me of that song, Strawberry Fields Forever. Okay, if that resonates with you, maybe there's something here for you. Now, this is looking back to good old days, the beautiful good old days. The time when you feel loved and you love. Okay. So it's looking back to that time when love is given equally. So for some of you, it can be looking back into those loving memories wherein you felt really very loved by someone, and you are also loving that someone in a very special way. So somehow for some of you, it can be that moment wherein you felt unconditional love. So it's like going back for some of you. It can be remembering something, maybe a certain relationship, maybe a certain situation in a relationship where the giving and receiving is given is sort of like in a very very loving way, unconditional sharing, and everything seems to be so beautiful. Now the wonder of memories is that usually when we look back into memory, what we remember are the good things, and the bad memories. For example, if it is a relationship that you are looking back to, what you often remember are the beautiful parts of that memory, and that's the one of the beautiful gifts that the universe gives us. We remember more the good things, and the bad things, if they so slowly fade away, and if it was a painful experience, the painful experience are slowly less becomes less and less as we look back to them and as time passes. So what remains oftentimes are the good ones, and it's beautiful. uh, we tend to realize the good things, and I think we can maximize on it because we realize by sort of like by looking back, uh, we realize the things that are really very important in a relationship, and hopefully it's something that we can learn from, something that we can bring with us as we move forward in our present moment and into the near future. It can be also, this card can also symbolize that right now you are learning how it is to love unconditionally, and at this time maybe somebody came along into your life who is capable of giving you unconditional love also. So this can be also a card wherein you are right now experiencing and giving unconditional love. So it can be like that also. Or at the same time, the third possibility is that at this time you are learning how to nurture your inner child. So at this time, for some of you, you are undergoing healing, or you are undergoing a moment wherein you are nurturing your inner child. You are listening to the needs of yourself at this present moment. Or maybe it's an invitation for you today to nurture yourself. So these are the possibilities we have with regards to this card. Now, how do will it unfold? Unfold. We have here the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune continues to turn. So this past is already past. You need to move forward. You need to take the lessons of the past memory and you need to continue riding the wheel of fortune towards the future. So you realize that you try to take what you have learned, the pearls and the treasures that you have received from this experience, and consider them as lessons of life, and you need to go with the wheel of fortune towards the future. So in a certain sense, yeah, the memory should not linger in a certain sense that keeps us from moving forward. It should be a stepping stone, a lesson for us to move forward. Even the present moment, if you are having right now a a relationship where you feel you experience unconditional love, you hold each other's hands and move forward towards the future. You need and allow this experience, this present experience of unconditional love, to help you, teach you lessons as you move forward to the future. At the same time, as you nurture yourself right now, you go back to your inner child, you heal, you try to nurture and heal your inner child. This is also an invitation for you to consider it as a lesson and move forward to the future. I think with the word hope. Okay. Now, what is the advice of the universe? Well, this is a lesson of life. Take it as an opportunity to learn something new in life. Uh, it's like you are receiving right now a certain lesson, a certain insight, or a certain wisdom. Consider yourself as a perpetual student in the school of life. This is another lesson that we can learn with these books, uh, allowing us to learn. So, allow yourself to enter into the learning process. Somehow, let the experience be your teacher. Let the universe also be your teacher. Allow it to for you to enter into the portal of a transformation, portal of growth, portal of renewal, portal towards a brighter future. So this is somehow the universe is telling you this is a new lesson. Whatever this one, be it a memory, a past memory, or be it now a process of experiencing unconditional love or a process of healing, consider it as another lesson of life. And so I guess the best thing right now is just to make the best of this moment, to nurture ourselves, to learn from the experience, and to cherish right now. If you are experiencing unconditional love and giving unconditional love, cherish the present moment. It will teach you a lot of things. Okay, so this is what we have right now for you in our tarot reading. Let us now go to the second part, which is the self-care tip. Okay, for our self-care tip, it's very much related to our tarot reading. It's something about learning to love yourself and learning to love yourself unconditionally, and also learning to love others unconditionally. Very much related to what we just saw in the tarot cards. It says here, if you aren't good at loving yourself, you will have a difficult time loving anyone, since you will resent the time and energy you give another person that you are not even giving to yourself. So yes, you will feel jealous. It makes me think that the message says, yeah, if you are giving somebody unconditional love, but you never experience giving yourself unconditional love, you didn't give yourself love unconditionally, in the end, you will feel shortchanged in the relationship because you are the other person receives and receives, but you feel shortchanged. It's like I'm giving the person love, but the person is not giving me love. Because unconditional love is you give love without expecting the other person to give love in return. So that's also good. However, if somehow your cup needs to be filled up, then sooner or later you will long for your cup to be filled up. And you might expect the other person to fill up the cup. And then a vicious cycle starts because the more the other person does not fill up your cup, the more you run after the other person. And the more the other person feels pampered and loved, and maybe the other person will take you for granted and not give you love again in return. So the more thirsty you become because you want your cup to be filled up. And sooner or later, you get tired and you stop running after the other person and you withdraw. Now, the other person who got used to receiving from you this love will start to run after you because they already are longing for that love. So in a certain sense, you are withdrawing and the other person is. So it's like becomes like a tug of war. The important thing here is first to learn to love ourselves, to fill up our cup. And so when we enter the relationship with that beautiful self-concept, then we do not expect others to fill up our cup. And if the other person is not ready to give into the relationship, it is easy for you to let that person go. Because that person, you do not need that person to fill up your cup. And so you are not dependent on that person. You give them also the freedom to come and go. And when you give a person the freedom to come and go, the more they appreciate the relationship. And the higher the chances for them to stay in that kind of relationship. Now let's continue reading from it. Reflect on a challenging relationship. What did it teach you about yourself? Give thanks for these lessons. They have made you stronger. Again, this one is related to our tarot reading, wherein we saw there the Hierophant, we saw there the Wheel of Fortune. Every experience, every relationship, even the challenging ones, actually, the challenge much more a relationship that is challenging. They are opportunities for us to learn from the school of life. So even the difficult relationships can be blessings in disguise because they can help us to grow more towards maturity. Now, let's read from the handbook that accompanies this card. And let's go to the internal self-care. So for the internal self-care, this is for our mental, emotional, and physical health. It says here, reflect on a challenging relationship. Do you feel you are being cared for or supported in the ways you need? If not, your task is this. How can you teach this person how best to care for you by caring for yourself in this manner? Set aside some time for this practice today. On the contrary, if you do feel supported in the relationship but are finding it difficult to truly care for the other person, ask yourself this. What about this relationship isn't serving my inner needs? Okay, so what about this relationship is not serving my inner needs? Okay, and moreover, what is it about the other person that I am finding unlovable? Does it reflect a part of myself that I view negatively or lack compassion for? Look upon the answers without judgment. Even difficult realizations are important teachers. Okay, so if we are in a relationship right now that is a little bit difficult, maybe we need to look at it a little bit closer. What is it that is in the relationship that is not serving my inner need? So, yeah, maybe it prevents me from having my personal time. You know how it is sometimes also when all our time is already for the other person, you do not have time anymore to nurture yourself. So it's like that. It's a one-sided relationship. all your time is just for one person and you do not have time for yourself. So maybe you need to make some adjustment on that area. What is it about the person that I'm finding unlovable? So you try to see also the relationship. Why is it that when you see this person that you care for before, now you, instead of looking at that person in a loving way, you find yourself irritated? Okay. Maybe the reason why you're irritated, according to the handbook, is that maybe this person reminds you of a part of you that you need to address also. Okay. So maybe it's not really the person that you don't like, but that person has a characteristics that shows you a part of you that you also couldn't accept at this present time. And then you look for the answers and try not to judge it. Try to learn from it. Consider them as potential lessons in the school of life. Now let's go to the external self-care, which is in our relationships, our community, our creativity, and our work. Not every relationship is meant to work out. We transform throughout our lives, as do our bonds with others. Just because we are capable of evolving together does not mean it is always healthy or even necessary. It is okay to let some relationships go, even even if you are not in the process of ending or letting go of a relationship. Letting go of expectations and demands in existing ones can be a necessary practice. Today, focus on a relationship that has felt particularly strained or challenging in recent times. What can you let go of here? And what is holding you back from doing just that? Sometimes the strain that we have from a relationship is when we enter the relationship expecting a person to change instead of just accepting the person for what they are. Because when you expect a person to change, like for example, okay, I'm going to accept this person because I hope that this person will change. There are a lot of good things from this person, but there is this aspect that I am not happy with. But I am hoping that if I enter in this relationship, this person might change that aspect. Now, if you have that kind of expectation, you might get disappointed if that person does not change that part that you want him or her to change. It is rather much better if you accept the person, okay, this is the person that is before me right now, both their good and their bad side. Now the question is, if this person remain as they are and does not change, will I still be happy being with this person? So it's like accepting that person for what they are right now and not having expectations. And you try to ask, will I still be happy if I have this person just as what they are right now and they do not change? If you say, yes, I can continue even if this person does not change, then move forward. You can move hand in hand with this person. Because if you have expectations and that expectation is not fulfilled by the person, then you will end up regretting or maybe even feeling shortchanged in the end. So I would rather we enter the relationship accepting the person for what they truly are and not expecting them to change. If that person changes, then it's just a bonus. Okay, but you already have accepted the person for what they are. So maybe that's one point that we can do right now. If we are right now in a relationship where there are certain imperfections in the persons that sometimes irritates us, now we have to accept the reality and the high probability that this person will not change. You just accept, okay, so this is the person that I chose to live with. I'll have to accept them for what they are. Now, if they change, then it's a bonus. But if they do not change, I already accepted this person. I will continue to love this person and not expect this person to be somebody else. Okay, so it's like that. Learning to, at this moment in time, just accepting the good and the bad sides of the person. And from this point onwards, to love the person from what we perceive them to be. So I hope this has helped you right now, the self-care tip. It is related to relationships, just as our tarot card is related to it. You will notice, no, when we actually, before I read the self-care tips, usually the self-care tips I just also read it after I do the tarot card readings, and even I could see the synchronicities between the self-care tip and the tarot cards, because the tarot cards I do not plan. So even if I read the self-care tips before our tarot readings, uh, the tarot cards, I do not know how it will turn out. Oftentimes, I get to be surprised also at the synchronicities wherein the self-care tip oftentimes coincides with the result of our tarot reading, which is, in a certain sense, we do not know what will happen to the tarot reading. And you see here, so in a certain sense, there is really a certain message each day for us, a certain lesson that the universe teaches us or wants us to learn. So, I hope that this lesson for today that we just received from the universe, because I am also a student in life, I'm also learning from the reflections that we get from the tarot readings and also the oracle cards. Now, I hope that it has been fruitful for you as it has been for me. And thank you for the likes and comments you constantly give to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. I hope to see you again next time. Until that moment, may God continue to bless your ways.